Yo, what's good? It's your boy Hard8, the truth of YouTube, your favorite commentator's favorite commentator. Yeah! What's up, people? What's happening? You already know the deal. If you missed my last video, it was my review of Dying Light, spoiler free. The link is down below. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of those good things is down below. So please, go and check them out. Now, it's time that we come to reality with ourselves, people. The PlayStation 4 is just not as powerful as we would like it to be. It's just not. You know, especially with the news that getting Uncharted 4 to run at 60 frames per second is real fucking hard. You know, quoted from the co-director, Neil Druckmann, Druckmann. It's real fucking hard. This is what he said about trying to get Uncharted 4 to 60 frames per second. He didn't say it in a nice way. Oh, it's pretty difficult. Yeah, it's pretty much a challenge. Yeah, we're having a hard time. No, he said it's real fucking hard. Letting you know, oh, this shit is difficult. Now, we have to understand that the PlayStation 4 is a $400 machine. And I think a lot of us, even myself, early on, was expecting a miracle in a box. You know, a miracle in a $400 box. And that's just not reality, people. See, the reason why we get upset when we hear things like 30 frames per second for a next-gen game, the reason why we get upset is because we expect more. But see, the thing is, we expect $1,000 performance in a $400 machine. This is what we expect, and this is why we get disappointed, we get upset when we hear things like 30 frames per second on a game like Uncharted or the Order 1886 and things like that. Reality is, you just have to not expect a miracle in the box, and you should be fine. You should be fine. Now, it seems the PlayStation 4, it seems like they have to choose. Like, do you want a game to look next gen and amazing, or do you want a game to run at 60 frames per second? It seems like at this point they have to choose between the two, because Neil Druckmann himself said that right now they are trying to push the look, and then we'll see where we at and we'll reassess. You know what I mean? This is out his mouth. Right now they're trying to push the graphics to the limit, and if you think a $400 machine is going to be able to push those graphics, the way that Uncharted 4 looks, to the limit and still run at 60 frames, 1080p, then I think you are in for a rude awakening. I think you are in for a rude awakening. Now, when I heard the news, you know, of course, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. But am I going to pass on Uncharted 4? Absolutely not. That is not happening. All I can hope for now is that they can at least get the game to run at 30 frames per second live. Not 23, not 24, 30 live. That's what I'm hoping for now. I mean, they said they even had trouble with getting The Last of Us remastered to 60 frames per second. So that lets you know, that gives you a little bit more perspective of how hard it is to actually get a game to run at 60 frames per second. Because they were struggling, or it was a challenge to get The Last of Us, which is a last-gen game. It was a challenge to get that game to 60 frames per second on the PS4. You know, I really don't understand that. Now, I'm not no developer or anything. You know, I know a little bit. But I'm really not understanding a game that was running on a console that only has 512 megabytes of RAM, and now you have it running on a console that has 8 gigabytes of RAM, or at least 5 gigabytes for gaming, and it still was a struggle. Like, I I don't get that. I got 60 frames per second is a lot tougher than we actually think. You know what I mean? We automatically think, oh, well, lower the resolution and make it 60 frames. Make it 720, 60 frames. But it seems that to achieve 60 frames is a lot harder than we actually think. You know what I mean? We tend to think, I mean, judging my comments, even from myself, you know, we tend to think that, oh, 60 frames per second ain't nothing. You know, make a couple adjustments and get it to 60 frames. But it seems like 60 frames per second is a lot harder to achieve than we actually think. I mean, think about it. On PC, right? In order to get 60 frames per second locked, you know, max settings on certain games, your rig has to cost a couple of dollars. You understand what I'm saying? I know people be building these $600 machines and all that, but them machines can't do 60 frames, 1080p max on certain games. Games like Crisis 3 and shit like that. Settings got to be lowered and things like that because a lot of different people have their own definition on what's max settings and what's not. You know what I mean? So it costs a pretty nice amount of money to actually be able to play every game at 60, 1080. So just imagine, just looking at how much you would have to spend on the PC to do that and compare it with a console, right? We can't expect a miracle in a box. We just can't do it, people. And even though I'm disappointed by this news from Neil Druckmann, I'm still going to play the game, and I'm quite sure I'm still going to enjoy the game. I just hope at least it can be 30 locked. At least it can be 30 locked, or do this. Just make the multiplayer or the single player, make one or the other 30 and 160 or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Understand what I'm saying? Like, make the single player be 30 frames per second and make the multiplayer be 60. You know, do something like that. Cut it in half if that's what you have to do. But anyway, you know, the PlayStation is, you know, stronger than the Xbox One. I mean, if you just look at a game like Battlefield Hardline, it's 900p on the PlayStation 4 and 720 on the Xbox One. It is stronger than the Xbox One, but at the end of the day, overall, it's not that powerful. Overall. Not to do games like Uncharted and The Order 1886 at 1080, 60 frames per second. You know, Neil Druckmann said it's real fucking hard for a reason, because the PlayStation 4 probably can't really handle it. But we'll see. You know what I mean? Let's just keep hope alive. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens moving on, but right now, we just can't expect too much from a $400 machine. It just is what it is. So, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button. If you didn't, please hit the dislike button. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. This your boy Hard8. Deuces.
Hey! Hey! New shoes on the Range Rover, good for mine. Yeah, motherfuckers act like I